Hello, listener, and welcome back to Wishcrafting, the podcast where together we uncover the magic of the world around us. This episode is on March's wishing moon, so the wishing moon of March 2025. I did create an episode all about wishing moons, what they are, how to work with them, how to figure out when they're going to be, so I'd suggest checking that out if you haven't listened to it yet. But you don't have to listen to that episode in order to listen to this one. This one is going to be a more in-depth breakdown of the wishing moon of March this year. So the first wishing moon of the year. So just in case you need a refresher or you don't want to listen to the full episode on wishing moons, the basic breakdown of a wishing moon is that they are full moons that hold just a little bit more potency for wish magic or wishcrafting, which is what I love the most. So typically in modern practices, full moons will be taught as a time for letting go instead of manifesting. But as one continues to build a magical practice, you eventually learn that there aren't many true absolutes in witchcraft. As with full moons, they are excellent illuminators, and they shine light into the places that need to be removed, renovated, or cleansed. But not everything hidden in the shadows of our hearts needs to be purged, right? What if the light of the full moon could shine deep into your shadows and illuminate those parts of you that need to be carried tenderly, safely? What if the full moon can give you the luminescent clarity needed to gently visit those parts of yourself in order to honor yourself more fully, to see yourself more clearly, and to remind you of the tools that you need to blaze a path that you believe in? Well, that's what wishing moons are for. Wishing on a wishing moon is personal, and it can be as deep or as lighthearted as you'd like because they're your wishes. And I say that and affirm that every so often when it's needed, because magic can be what you need it to be, but it can also be what you want it to be. In recent times, it seems that the magic you see on social media either has a lens of growth or need on it. And those things are valid and they're great. And using magic to accomplish a need is wonderful. It's empowering. However, you can also engage in magic simply to feel magical. It's an important thing to remember. And it's my intention that this episode will help you understand the overall energy of these upcoming wishing moons, starting with March, so that you can craft your magic appropriately for your needs and wants. Just like a farmer's almanac tells a farmer which moons are good for planting what seeds, this magical almanac episode will do the same for you, except your seeds are wishes. So today we're going to go through all of the astrological and magical correspondences, and I will give you an overall vibe check for this upcoming full moon, as well as my suggestions on what kind of wishcraft might be suited for this upcoming full wishing moon. So, with that being said, let's jump right into it. All right, there are 4 wishing moons in a year, and the very first wishing moon of 2025 is on March 14th. March kicks off the start of a brand new eclipse cycle. We've moved away from the Libra-Aries eclipse cycle, and now we're moving into the Virgo-Pisces eclipse cycle, which are vastly different energies. Everyone has their own take on astrological interpretations, okay? But I'm an Aries. And as an Aries, the Aries Libra eclipse cycle was all about the balance and understanding of self. Literally everything to do with self-concept, honoring yourself, honoring others harmoniously while honoring yourself, and finding a flow within that instead of having it drain you. It was not just romantic relationships like many astrologers were going on about last year, although the reason they were focused on romantic relationships is because that is often how we find paths to liberation, and that's just how it is. But that is another topic for another day. Anyways, we are moving out of that cycle, the Aries Libra cycle, and we're moving into the Virgo Pisces eclipse cycle. This cycle brings a strong focus to balancing practicality and spirituality. This energy helps us to surrender control, tap into our intuition, and embrace compassion while still maintaining a grounded approach, especially if you are aware that this energy is floating about in the cosmos like you are now that we've had this talk. Essentially, this eclipse cycle is all about navigating between the dreamlike, expansive energy of Pisces and the detail-oriented, service-oriented nature of Virgo. This cycle offers a door into deep self-reflection and into transformation all around personal boundaries, service to others, and aligning with one's higher purpose. The Aries Libra cycle is archetypally matched with the Fool, card 0 in the tarot. And this new cycle with Virgo Pisces is archetypally matched with the Magician, card number 1. More on that later, but for now, let's focus on the fact that this eclipse is happening in Virgo during the very wee hours of the morning on March 13th, moving into the early morning of March 14th. So technically, the moon will be full during both days. And this eclipse is an unusually long eclipse, with the eclipse reaching totality around 2:25 a.m. and lasting until 3:31 a.m. And I believe that's Eastern Standard Time. Now, the moon will begin to eclipse around 1 a.m., which means from 1 a.m. until almost 4:30-ish, we are going to be having an eclipse. That is a massive window for this blood moon eclipse that is going to be occurring. That also just so happens to be the first wishing moon of 2025. Now, full moon eclipses are moments of honest assessment for your life, particularly in the house and sign that the eclipse takes place in. So, to find out what this is for you, you need to go to your chart and see where this eclipse is going to affect you most based on what house Virgo is in. Here's a brief overview of what the different houses rule over. The first house rules over self-image, physical appearance, and personality. The second house rules over finances, possessions, and self-worth. The third house rules over communication, siblings, and short-distance travel. The fourth house rules over home, family, roots, and your childhood. The fifth house rules over creativity, romance, children, and pleasure. The sixth house rules over daily routines, health, and work. The seventh house rules over partnerships, marriage, and significant others, not just romantic. The eighth house rules over transformation, intimacy, and shared resources. The 9th house rules over higher learning, travel, philosophy. The 10th house rules over career, public image, and reputation. The 11th house rules over friendships, goals, and aspirations. And finally, the 12th house rules over the subconscious, spirituality, and the hidden aspects of the self. I have Virgo in the 10th house. The 10th house rules over career, public image, and reputation, which is perfectly in alignment with where I am at in my life right now. I have some very big goals and dreams, and a fire under my ass to make them happen, and they all revolve around this interwoven public career path where I am expressing very personal experiences and opinions, like right now on this podcast. So, this wishing moon, it would be very advantageous of me to tailor my wishes to fit around those themes, which I will be doing. With the added punch of the eclipse, this is life-changing territory. I might tailor my wishes to removing all obstacles between me and my big dreams, or asking for X amount of followers or subscribers in a miraculous time frame, or releasing my fear of public speaking, releasing my writer's block, etc. Now is the time for me to get very familiar with the limiting beliefs and obstacles between me and my big dreams. So, I'm giving you this episode now so that you have at least a week, but a little bit more, to really start getting familiar with your own limiting beliefs and obstacles so that you can start formulating your wishes right now. Now, wishes don't have to be realistic, okay? They don't have to feel realistic. They should feel hopeful, in fact. Especially on a wishing moon, and especially on a wishing moon eclipse. The idea of a wishing moon is that you are giving this over to the moon, and she takes care of it for you. You're not manifesting this by yourself, or rather alone. You don't need to worry about the how or the why. You just need to be clear and open to the wishes being fully fulfilled somehow. Okay? The somehow is the open-ended part. You can't be too strict in your wishes. You have to give the moon and the cosmos space to give you what you want. Okay? Now let's break down the energy that this eclipse cycle is ushering in so we can better understand how working with that energy and starting things off on the right foot can really set us up to succeed in the ways that we've maybe only dreamed of as we move through this new Virgo Pisces eclipse cycle. This eclipse is in Virgo. Virgo is an earth sign that is ruled by Mercury. Most folks know him as the messenger of the gods, right? And he certainly is that. But besides the divine messenger, he is also the divine entrepreneur, the divine trickster. He is the magician in the tarot. Most often you hear that Mercury rules over communication, and that is true. He's a very powerful figure, and through his archetypal embodiment, we find that in fact, Mercury rules over the mind, which in turn gives him dominion over communication. You see the difference there? Mercury also rules Gemini. So it would be a more accurate description to say that in Gemini, Mercury is focused on communication, and in Virgo, he is focused on intellect. Intellect is the ability to think critically and come to conclusions based on evidence. This is the analytical mind that likes to pay attention to details, to create systems and routines and order that minimize problems. So, If you go and you check on your house and what house Virgo rules, and that doesn't necessarily feel in alignment with what you want right now, that's okay. That's totally fine. Perhaps you can look at the places in your life where you could call upon divine entrepreneurship or divine trickster energy to add to your confidence or self-concept, or perhaps the magician. Maybe you're in a tough situation and you have no idea how you're going to get out of it. The archetypal energy of the magician can help you see what tools you have to actually forge a new path for yourself. And you can tailor your wishes to call upon not just the moon, but Mercury and these different archetypal energies and help you out with whatever it is that you need right now. Now, the actual constellation of Virgo is of the goddess Astraea, who is the Greek goddess of justice, innocence, and purity, and she is often associated with the starry heavens as well as divine order. She was the daughter of Themis, goddess of divine law, and Zeus. In other stories, she was said to be the child of the dawn and the child of the stars. So the dawn and the stars came together and had Astraea. Astraea was known as the last god to live among humans during the Golden Age, a time of peace and prosperity in Greek mythology. It was a time when humanity descended into corruption, and eventually Astraea abandoned the earth in sorrow and ascended to the heavens, becoming the constellation Virgo. The scales of justice, often linked to Libra, are sometimes said to have belonged to Astraea first, reinforcing her connection to balance, fairness, and order. Her other associations include purity and innocence. Virgo is often symbolized by the maiden, reflecting Astraea's incorruptible nature, and her virginity, which in Greek mythology just meant she was unmarried and thus uncommitted to a man and free to do what she wanted to do and live the life of a goddess in dedication to whatever she decided she wanted to be in dedication to. Virgo is also analytical and discerning, and this aligns with Astraea's role as the divine judge. Oftentimes, Astraea was appointed as a city's patron deity because of her ability to give out fair judgment, right? Virgo is also an earth sign and represents the material world, and Astraea's association with the stars ties Virgo into a celestial connection between the earth and the heavens. Astraea and Virgo both embody helpfulness, order, and a desire to restore harmony. In all, Astraea's mythology makes her a divine embodiment of Virgoan ideals, a seeker of truth, purity, and cosmic balance. So, what does that mean for this eclipse? What does it mean for this lunar eclipse wishing moon of 2025 that we have coming up? Well, the shadow side of Virgo is complacency, okay? The brain is always trying to ultimately keep us safe, and that commonly means that it shows up as unhealthy coping mechanisms, okay? That's just how it is. Our brains are always searching for ways to reaffirm that which we are comfortable and safe in, even if on the outside that looks like we are uncomfortable. So here's a perfect quote on eclipses from Susan Miller of Astrology Zone. Quote, "Eclipses are dramatic wild cards in our horoscopes. They are some of the most dramatic tools that the universe uses to get us to pay attention to areas in our life that need to change. They uproot us, surprise us, and get us moving. They shake us out of our feelings of complacency so that we can move from one level of maturity to another. to a higher plane, and they work very rapidly. Eclipses want us to change, and change we do. End quote. So, this wishing moon eclipse that we have coming up is the perfect opportunity to change, to audit your life, to audit yourself. I know that earlier I said that wishing can be lighthearted, and if this all sounds like too much for you, that's fine. I don't think that you're going to find a better wink in the universal cosmos, however, for many years to come that is so suited for big self, capital S, self work. So what I'm doing is I'm going and I'm looking at the house that Virgo falls into. I'm sitting down and being uncomfortably honest with myself and how I self-sabotage in those places. And I am formulating wishes that feel like pipe dreams around those findings. Things that just feel impossible to change, or that I have no idea how I am ever going to move past. So this could look like, I wish to find the strength that I need to stand up to my boss, or I wish my partner would just come out and say what they've been holding back, or I wish I could stop procrastinating on XYZ. It could also be like, I wish I had insurance so I could get medicated for blah, blah, blah. Literally go to the places where your life isn't working for you, where it's not working for you, and wish on changing those things, regardless of what house it falls under. You can just expect quicker and more intense results for wishes that align with your Virgo placements, but you're not limited to those, okay? If you don't know how, you might start to audit your life, or perhaps that idea freaks you out and it's scary, you have resistance there. Or maybe you just don't even know what that means or would look like. You're at the beginning of a self-awareness journey or a self-actualization journey, any kind of self journey, and perhaps you just don't know what that means. In that case, consider wishing to Estrella or Mercury, calling upon any of those archetypal energies we talked about earlier. That could be another really wonderful, powerful alternative, okay? Call upon them along with the moon to help you find harmony in the places in your life you feel disharmonious, and just start there. And I think you would be very pleased at the magic that happens once you do. Okay, listener, that is all I have for you for now. I know this was a bit of a dense episode, but I hope that you got something out of it. Let me know if you did. If you're on Spotify or YouTube, leave me a comment. There will also be a link in the description box for you to talk to me. Give me your feedback or just let me know what you think. And until next time, my name is Wishamaya. Don't forget to keep your roots deep and your dreams wild.